Hey everybody, again, Steve Ritter. So you all have really have appreciated the response that I've gotten from doing these, um, and I appreciate the things that people have said. That when I've said, "Hey, look, I don't want to come across as preachy or anything else," and everybody's like, "Well, no, you're not. You're not being preachy. You're sharing." And what a great way to put it. It's just like when everybody talks about the videos and how it feels like I'm coming over to my neighbor's house while they're cooking, and that really just encourages me. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today was encouragement. And a lot of you have been that for me, and have said very kind things. And somebody said that today. He said, I was reading a comment that someone had that the viewers of this channel are kind, and they hadn't really ever seen that before, and that's true. There's the occasional troll or whatever that comes along, but they're quickly what I call them my Valkyries that pounce on them. But it is mildly amusing watching that. But I mean, the vast majority of people are kind and say good things, and really have encouraged me to keep this going, to keep expanding my boundaries of cooking and the different things I do. And I was thinking about that, about encouragement, and I was thinking about that, the Bible is replete with verses about encouraging one another, and I was looking through some of them, and like in Hebrews 3:13, it says, "But encourage one another daily, as long as it is called today, so that none of you may be hardened by sin's deceitfulness." And another place, 1 Thessalonians 5:11, "Therefore comfort one another and edify one another, just as you also are doing." And I mean, all through, and in another verse, Paul talking to the Corinthians, in 2 Corinthians 13:11, "Finally, brothers and sisters, rejoice, strive for full restoration, encourage one another, be of one mind, live in peace, and the God of love and peace will be with you." And I was thinking about encouragement and what that is, and just to, when you encourage someone and you lift them up. I know for me as a man growing up and coming along, as as the older I got, there's the tendency, I think, over the years that I've seen, it's harder for men to encourage. It seems like to me, and there's been times that because I think that there's a lot of people think that it's a zero-sum game. That if I encourage somebody and say, "Hey, I appreciate this about you," or "Hey, you're really good at this," or whatever, that there's a sense that if I give that to you, I somehow diminish myself. And I think guys have a bigger problem with that. I've found, it's been my experience in the past, than women do. Women are much more giving that way. And in my military career, I saw that quite a bit. And I noticed that, and I was thinking about that one time. I was in Charleston at the time. I was a captain, and I was still a co-pilot. And I went over to do a simulator ride with this guy who was a young aircraft commander, and he and I had gone through initial qualification together, but he had flown something else and was on the fast track, right? So, and he was a good pilot, and I remember doing the sim with him and just really enjoying it. Anyway, we went back over to the squadron afterwards, and we're sitting there talking and talking about the sortie and what we did and what we could fix and do better. And I was sitting there, and I was just overcome at this point, and I just, something he did or taught me or whatever, and I just really appreciated it. And I'm like, you know what? And he was we were kind of talking, and it was just real, professional, real, just, just back and forth, and just, what's the word I'm looking for? It doesn't have that personal touch, I guess, is our conversation. It was just like two people that you work with would talk together. Anyway, I stopped and I said, "You know what, man?" I said, "I just want to tell you something." And he kind of said, "What?" And I don't know if he was expecting to get chewed out or what, I don't know. But And I told him, I said, man, I said, I just want to tell you, I really enjoy flying with you. And every time that I fly with you, I feel like I learned something. And I just remember I could close my eyes and I could see it to this day. And this is probably, shoot, this was probably 20 years ago. More than that now, shoot, 23 years ago. I could still see it in my eyes, in my mind's eye. I could see how taken aback he was when I said that. And he wasn't mad or anything. He just, I could see the demeanor on his face just change. And I from that day on, things were just different between us, and just me opening up and encouraging him. And I said, I just really, he's like, he was a little uncomfortable at first. I was like, no, I'm serious. I said, every time I fly with you, I learn something. And I like the way you do business, and that's the kind of pilot I want to be. And I walked away from that, and I was thinking about that. Like I was saying, did I diminish myself by doing that? And I always remember that because how he was, and he really appreciated it, and I could tell it meant a lot to him for me saying that. I felt better by doing it. I mean, it's like being a parent giving gifts on Christmas, and I mean, you love giving gifts to your kids. It makes you feel good, and just encouraging him like that, and it made me feel good, made him feel good, and then our relationship changed. And maybe that's what Paul talks about. I think so. I think so. And a couple other examples. I remember I'd taken my sons. Now Bella was just a little tiny thing, so I didn't take her. But I took my sons down to see my dad in North Carolina. I was in school at the time in New Jersey, going through an Air Force school. And so we were within striking distance of there, and it was the summertime. So I took my boys down there for a couple days, and we were with some cousins. We went to this pond there in Southern Pines and went swimming. And the boys were out there swimming, and Benjamin, of course, we had them all in swimming lessons from as early as possible. So I wasn't worried about him swimming, but I was sitting there talking, and we were on the shore there. I was probably about, I don't know, probably 30 yards away from them watching them. And I was watching, it was just me and the boys, and I was sitting there next to my dad, and my aunt was there. And I watching the boys jump in, and they were jumping in, and I was watching Benjamin, and he would kind of swim out a little bit, and then, he'd swim back to the dock and hold on. And I was watching that, and I watched him, and he was having some trouble. And I watched it, and he like went under. And I saw it coming, and I was up, and I was there like right as he went under, and I had him and picked him up, and I could hear, it's funny how events like that just focus you, and I could hear my dad talking to his sister, my aunt, and I could hear him saying, oh, he's got him, don't worry, and I've been there, and I walked back up, and I said, Benjamin, come on up here. Let's take a break for a second. Let him kind of, okay, because he got a little tired, because that boy can play, and I remember my aunt going, "Whoa, goodness, Stephen, it's lucky, you got there, and you were watching." And I remember my dad saying, he watches all the time. He's a good daddy, and I just remember that and how much that meant to. I was just thinking about that the other day, and just how much that meant to me that my dad said that about me, So that was an encouragement, and I remember that, and I was talking to my oldest son Nathan the other day. He's still deployed, and be praying for him because he's still out there on his deployment. They got extended, so he's out. He's going to end up being out for, when all's said and done, 9 months at sea. So anyway, I was talking to him the other day, and I told him the same thing. I just told him how proud I was of him, and that he was a good daddy too, and I meant it. And he is for our granddaughter. So But I think about that a lot, and encouraging, and we should encourage one another. Um, I just I think it's not diminishing yourself to encourage others. It 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 it, it lifts you up too, and I think that's to encourage one another, lift one another up, and I think that's what Paul talks about. I think that's what the Lord would have us do. Anyway, I just want to tell you all what an encouragement you are to me, to my family. I see Bella's face every time people say something nice, or you're going to do great at college, and all of that. And she's getting ready to go. It's not much longer. In fact, I think after I post this, it'll be the next day. We're going to be taking her up there. So I'll be praying for her and encourage one another. Um, and I'd just like to encourage you. I thank you. I try to read all your comments and all, and I just really appreciate you all. And this is, uh, I really enjoy doing these. I hope this encourages you. So until next time, we'll see you, and thank you, and we'll talk to you later.